Thank you, everyone. Now we have the LRSD. We like to start our meetings, of course, with land acknowledgements. And today's we will have Trustee Semignola.
Thank you, Trustee Sigerson, and the land acknowledgement as follows. The Rural Rail School Division brings together a community of schools on the traditional land of Anishinaabe, Anishinaabeg, and Dakota. Our division is located on national homeland of the Red River Métis. We recognize that Manitoba is also the traditional land of Anishinaabe and Dene. We respect the treaties made on this land, acknowledge the harms and the mistakes of the past and present. We dedicated ourselves to an authentic alliance with Indigenous communities in a spirit of reconciliation and cooperation. We recognize and honor Shoal Lake 40 First Nation, the source of Winnipeg's life-sustaining drinking water, as well as the treaty territories that generate and provide the electricity that powers daily activities throughout the province and beyond.
Thank you, Trustee Semignola. Welcome and announcement. I'd like to welcome everyone participating in this hybrid meeting. Board meetings follow a formal structure, where the work of the board is conducted in a public setting that gathers parents, students, staff, and other community members. As chair, it is my duty to preserve order and decorum at all times. All in-person and verified virtual attendees are reminded to observe the procedural bylaws and to engage in a respectful and orderly manner. We'd like to remind everyone there's a 15-minute public question period at the end of the meeting, when verified virtual participants and verified in-person participants can bring forward questions for clarification regarding items on today's agenda. If your questions are not related to tonight's agenda, please reach out to the division by email. Finally, please be aware that we audio record board meetings for accuracy. A link to the live stream of the meeting will be made available on the division's website. Unless otherwise approved, other photographs, personal recordings, audio, visual, or otherwise are not permitted. We also like to go through our affirmation of our vision and mission. Our vision is for all members of our community to excel as caring, confident, capable, and resilient lifelong learners who contribute to a democratic and sustainable world. Our mission is to provide a safe, inclusive, and engaging environment where personal and collective learning are valued and each one of us reaches our full potential. Moving on to item 2, approval of agenda and minutes. The approval of the agenda for regular board meeting of January 21st, 2025. So we have a motion that the January 21st agenda for the regular board meeting be approved. I'll need a mover and a seconder, please. Trustee Semignola, Trustee Walker. All those in favor? Voting is coming up on the screen. Motion is passed?
Yep.
Motion has been carried. Thank you, everyone. Next is the approval of the minutes for the regular board meeting that took place on January 7th, 2025. No edits or changes were requested, so therefore the January 7th meeting minutes will be accepted as distributed. Next, at number 3, we have the LRSD news. Good news. Tonight, our good news will come from our Vice Chair, Trustee Garrier.
Well, thank you very much. It's always nice to have some good news to share. And I know that many of you watched the meeting last week when we talked, or last meeting when we talked about meeting with our South Winnipeg MLAs. And I wanted to talk to you about what a good meeting we had and how pleased we were to have Renee Cable, Billy Cross, Tyler Lajamodia, Renee Cable, where is it now? Robert Loisel and Mike Moyes here to plan and work with us. I had a picture of the group. Different one. Oh, well, it doesn't matter. You've probably seen it on social media. I just wanted to reinforce that we had a very productive meeting, and it is so nice to be able to work with our local MLAs for the good of our constituents. The second thing I wanted to talk about was our Honourable Minister, Nello Altemer. He was a friend to education, he was a friend to students, and he was a friend to LRSD. I know there's been lots in the social media and people have been talking about how he affected their life. I just wanted to say in LRSD, Nello came out as education minister to some of our schools. I had the pleasure to work with him at General Van Nuys School when they had a mental health fair going on. He came and he talked to the students. He interacted with the teachers. He was a consummate teacher. All through his tenure, even before when he was in opposition, I would meet him at meetings. We would talk education. I would say to him, well, you never know. You could be in that seat next time. And we say, that's what I'm hoping for. We just were very thankful to have him to plan with us and to make life and education better for all of our students. So I just wanted to tell you that he really was a friend to LRSD. The last thing is I wanted to talk a little bit about Minnetonka. The picture was up. Sorry, thank you, Jamie. Yeah, it was my at the last minute. Minnetonka School is got a couple of really interesting happenings going on. They're having their winter concert on this Friday, on this Thursday, and it's a really exciting endeavor. It's taking place on January 22nd. They've moved it from the traditional December timing to get to fit better with their school calendar and provide more opportunities for the students for fresh and exciting exhibition and celebration over the music. They also found that a switch to January gave way more prep time to showcase the talents of their students. And you know, December is such a busy time for families. January was just a really good month to have it. So the concert that's going to happen, if you can get there on Thursday, will begin with big group performances where students are going to present songs and instrument movements, and it's all going to be centered around the theme of winter. Okay, so that's the new format not only provides an opportunity for a more diverse musical expression, but highlights the talents and creativity of the students of Minnetonka. In addition to the winter concert, the picture that I was just had up, they're excited about their ongoing DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion initiative, which engages the entire school in a monthly book study. Each month, the class selects a picture book from the school's DEI library collection, and all the K-8s read a selected book at the end of the month. They share, and every class displays a visual representation of the learning in the main foyer, and the whole school gets to enjoy that. So to date, they've read books on DEI, diversity, inclusion, self-acceptance. One story celebrates the importance of food and cultural traditions, and they can always have the celebration with that. They encourage participation from all the backgrounds. And another highlight, the shared experience of childhood while emphasizing the recognition of each child, the uniqueness. So they've done so many interesting things with this, and the principal was telling me how proud of the enthusiasm and creativity the students have shown through these multicultural activities. So these initiatives are fostering greater sense of community, empathy, and understanding within our schools. And when we get a chance as trustees to go and visit these schools, we are always, always blown away by what's going on and how the children and the adults are working together to make us a better world. So I just want to say I love going into the schools. Thank you.
That's fantastic. Thank you, Trustee Gary. Questions or comments on those points? No, thank you. We'll now turn to the senior leadership team, which also will have news for us, and Superintendent Anderson.
Very good, thank you. I'd like to begin with the 12 Days of Generosity Food Drive at Collège Béliveau. And this was a time in December where a group led by teachers, Madame Tice and Madame Zara, and students in their LifeWorks classes gathered all of the community around a common objective to bring in food, cash, and gift certificate donations. And the students in the LifeWorks class promoted this within the school. They counted, charted, tracked, and published with standing each day. And that showed that the grade 9 students were the most generous cohort in the school. So bragging rights to the grade 9 students. So these items were collected, put together into hampers for members of the school community, and a donation was also made to St. Boniface Street Links. At École Van Bellingham, want to let you know that it is I Love to Read Month at École Van Bellingham. You might think that's a little early. Our French immersion schools sometimes move I Love to Read Month around because February is a busy time with Festival du Voyageur and other activities. And as I always said at École Guyot, there's never not a good time to celebrate reading. So they're doing it early at École Van Bellingham. The theme is Stay Warm with a Good Book. And students will enjoy countless opportunities to dive into stories, either independently with reading buddies or an adult. And the library is hosting special events to spark imagination and make reading even more enjoyable. Thursday, we'll have a themed Spirit Day each Thursday in the month, so it's going to be extra special. February is just around the corner, our kindergarten information evenings throughout the division, and these have a common start time in our buildings. They look a little bit different in each building. One of the special things about École Van Bellingham's is it will be over a pizza supper, and kindergarten students, incoming kinders will have free play in the gym, engage in crafts, and a chance for families to meet each other and make connections as their children start their education. And finally, this is very special and hot off the press. January 19th saw the École Van Bellingham Elementary Choir proudly perform O Canada at the Manitoba Moose Game. So that is a wonderful opportunity for them to showcase their skills, and what a stage to be on. So way to go, École Van Bellingham. And lastly, want to share some news from Frontenac School. They have special sensory-friendly gym nights at the school. And this is in collaboration with their phys ed teacher, clinicians, student services, admin, and outside agencies. And they were able to provide a sensory-friendly gym night for families. This uses a low arousal approach so that families could enjoy physical activities together and get to know one another, create relationships among themselves and with staff. Special thank you to Manitoba Possible and Accessible Sport Connection Manitoba for being part of this special evening. And these organizations were able to share information about the services and supports they have available to families. And Frontenac will be organizing more of these sensory-friendly gym nights throughout the school year. And you can see one of the advertisements for the event on the screen there. So that is my special news for our January 21st meeting.
Terrific. Especially like the warm up with a good book theme. You certainly all live with that. So questions or comments on that? If not, we thank you very much for the good news, and we'll move on again to number 4, finance and audit. Again, one of our major jobs, major tasks here at the board is our budget. We're looking at budget 2025, 2026. Secretary Treasurer Nikki will share an update on launch of our thought exchange now.
Thank you very much. Yeah, so I just wanted to promote Thought Exchange. This is one of the avenues in which the public can have share input and have a say in what our 2024, 2020, 2025, 2026 budget will be. I just wanted to share some of the thoughts that we've received so far. And so we're receiving requests or ideas for investments in air conditioning, investments in school libraries, educational assistance, clinical supports, smaller school sizes, more teacher supports, school safety, field trips, swimming lessons. And so I really encourage our public to visit our thought exchange. You can either put in a thought, or you can star or rank the thoughts that have been proposed so far, and then we'll take that information consideration as we build our budget for next year. And so the thought exchange is going to be open until February 7th, so in about 2 weeks. And so along with Thought Exchange, you can find, we've done our MailChimp campaign to staff and parents. We've highlighted the Thought Exchange on our social media, a spotlight story, the Learning Circle, and the parent post. So once again, we'd like to hear from our community as to some of the ideas they'd like to see for consideration for the 2025-2026 school year.
Thank you very much. Any questions or comments on this information, anyone? We'll just keep monitoring that as we continue our work on our upcoming budget. Next, we move to number 5, staffing. We have personnel update, some retirement notices, and we'll pass this over to our superintendent, Michelik.
3 colleagues have shared their intention to retire at June 30th. Alana White, principal at Marion School, Ingrid Peterson, vice principal at J.H. Bruns Collegiate, and Michelle Bacon, principal at École Van Bella.
These are all fine people who will be missed, but we wish them well in their endeavors. Questions or comments? If not, we'll move on then. Thank you for that information. Number 6, senior leadership team information to the board, meeting at 6:1. I understand there was a leadership team meeting that took place on January the 6th. And Superintendent Michelik will provide the highlights of that meeting.
The leadership team met for its monthly meeting. When I say leadership team, that includes all principals, vice principals, and senior leaders. We start the morning off with networking, where we invite staff from this office here and the office at 900 St. Mary's to join us. We always have a cleansing ceremony and a land acknowledgement that is personalized at the start of every meeting. The morning is then focused on a project-based learning activity that each principal, vice principal team, or principal that doesn't have a vice principal are responsible for initiating. And we're there to support them in their project-based leadership learning endeavor. We have lunch, and then the afternoon is focused on pertinent topics, most of them, if not all of them, connected to our multi-year strategic plan. So we continued the conversation about a new framework for describing student needs in schools and how we will allocate supports, resources to ensure these students are on their journey of independence. So we reviewed the priorities for the framework. We explored an app that was developed to make the inputting of information more efficient and to prep for the January staff meeting where this will be launched. This new framework will be launched. And so this should help us describe to each other with more certainty, with more validity and reliability, the needs that we're wanting to support and how we're going to go about allocating resources. So we'll have more to report on that at a future meeting to the board. We then touched on universal literacy screening and monitoring results in grades 1 to 8. And it was an opportunity to remind ourselves as leaders that we need to be ones promoting and supporting this very important strategic action of ensuring there is a universal screening for literacy in all of our schools, starting in kindergarten and being monitored through grade 8. We then moved on to a schools of choice conversation that we're also having with the board in anticipation of a board motion later next month about schools of choice for 25-26. We talked about the staff attendance support program and expectations of leadership, support of staff. And finally, there were a series of quick updates and opportunity for questions and final thoughts. And that was the meeting.
Great, thank you. Very productive meeting. Any questions or comments for our superintendent regarding this meeting? Thank you. We'll move on. Next matter is the 6.2 is the public dashboards update. We pride ourselves on being accessible and putting all the best and most up-to-date information that we can. Turn this over now to Director of Information Technology Systems, Clark Hagan, and Marnie Wilson. I believe is Marnie online, or Marnie Wilson is our Divisional Vice Principal of Data Literacy. And we're going to have an update on our dashboards.
Thank you very much. Did you want to speak? Okay. Marnie, are you with us?
I am. Hello.
Okay, so LRC has a data hub that we have been updating over the past couple of years. And why we're highlighting this right now is because, as we know, we had to go to a new student information system. So which meant that we had to redo everything because making all that data hookup previous and to new, it's a bit of a deal, I will admit. So we just wanted to highlight two reports that have just come online in the past couple of days. And Marnie, I will let you walk us through it. I'll drive and you can talk.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, everyone. So I think we're going to start with our daily attendance tracker. So this dashboard, as Clark is getting it loaded up here, this dashboard is basically a traffic light, a very simple dashboard that lets us know the proportion of students who on the most recent day that we have data showing were present for the entire day or all of their enrolled classes, which you see in green, versus the proportion of students who were absent for explained reasons for any portion of the day or any of their classes, versus students who were absent for unexplained reasons for any portion of the day. So you'll notice that on the top right-hand corner, this is looking at 17,333 students on that day who were scheduled to have classes, which is different than an enrollment number. So anybody who was scheduled to have a class yesterday is included in this visual. You can see that 74% of the students, or 12,819, were present for the entire day. And when we look at the difference between explained and unexplained, just so that we know what we mean by that, explained absences are when, a parent or guardian calls in and provides a reason for the student's absence, whereas when we have a student that's in the red, it means that we were not provided a reason. So no message was given by parents or guardians for why the student was absent. At the bottom of this dashboard, you can, of course, click on grade levels, as Clark is doing right now. So you can click on one grade level, or you can click on multiple grade levels by holding down your control button, and you can see how those numbers change by grade level. And just if you're not aware of our naming convention on this, the SE and SS grade levels, these are students and skills for living in elementary and high school, respectively. So that is the daily attendance tracker. And the other one we wanted to highlight for you is the student absence dashboard. So this dashboard, I think if you go, if you make this, pop it out there, Clark, that'd be great. So this dashboard has 2 pages to it. It will tell you current section enrollment. It also has a date slider, so you can actually change the dates that you're looking at. But we can look at this right from the beginning of the school year. And this is giving us trends in overall absences on the first page. So per day, what proportion of students, and if Clark hovers over one of these data points, what proportion of students and what number of students were absent for any portion of the day. So in the case that Clark is hovering over last Friday, so on Friday there were 4,701 students away for a portion of the day, which for the enrollment on that day was 27.1% of our student population. So what we mean by any portion of the day, if Clark was to choose kindergarten through grade 8 students, we gather attendance twice a day on those students. So if a student has an absent code in our system for the morning or the afternoon or both, they will be included in the absent rates in this case. This is different than when we look at grade 9, 10, 11, or 12, and actually we should include SS students in here. So when we look at these students, this is including absence rates that include any student who missed even one class in a day. So in other words, if a student is scheduled for 5 classes in a day and misses one class, they are included in this absence rate. We'll now go to the second page. This page was sort of born during the COVID time when we were looking at illness-related absences. And at that time, we were actually counting COVID absences. We have now changed that code to be infectious respiratory illness counts. You can see here a graph that shows 2 lines. The line in red, which is very, very small, is our infectious respiratory illness count on any given day. And the line in gray is our illness-related count. So the gray line is students who are away for any kind of illness. So, for example, a parent or guardian phones in and says, my child is sick today. They would be included in the gray line. An infectious respiratory illness count is counted if a parent discloses that the student is away for that reason, for an infectious respiratory illness. And so on the date so as of yesterday, we had 1 student whose parent said that they were away for an infectious respiratory illness, and 1,173 students away in total, which includes the number in red, for any illness-related reason. That includes health-related appointments. And if you are coming back in here to ever look around, you can use the sliders, for example, on the left to kind of drill in if you're wanting to see that in a little bit greater detail. And again, we have the grade level slicers on the top so that you can see how that looks per grade level.
Okay. That's basically the tour of the 2 reports that have been, I guess, brought back to life. Any questions?
Thank you, Trustee Semeniolo.
Yeah, in my mind, I'm just trying to conceptualize when I look at the 9.9% at 1,713 unexplained absences, but the total number of students with scheduled classes, that statement doesn't match the parameters.
Which report are we looking at? This
I'm
one or
looking at the
the
first report.
first report?
Yeah, the daily attendance tracker. Like, so we have total enrolled students with unexplained, with scheduled classes, 17,333, which is our total enrollment up to right now. But yet high school, which when you isolate it seems really high, but it's under very different parameters than the other grades. So it's skewing the number, like the total number really high. Because somebody can have, in high school, can have 4 classes and they go to 3 but miss 1. That's being counted at the same level as somebody who's in grade 2 that only missed an afternoon. Also, so when I look at this 9.9, it seems really big. And when I look at high school grade 12, it seems really big at 30%. But that could also be just somebody who missed 2 classes out of 5. So like grouping these 2 with 2 parameters, I'm not sure it's telling the story that I was hoping this would tell. So my mind is just having a hard time really interpreting this data, like make it useful. I'm having a hard time with that.
Well, I guess it's, we can, remember, this isn't the data that we use or we leverage. This is meant to be a very high level for public to see what's going on in the division. This is not the data that we use that is digested by members of SLT and by administration to make actionable decisions on. So that's just want to be that one distinction. So we have a completely different data set for internal decisions and internal monitoring. That's just want to give that bit of background.
Can I
as
add
far as-
something, Clark?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that's an astute observation, and we do have a measure called an absent percent, which is by itself very different than the percentages that you're seeing here. So the absent percent is looking at the number of absent codes that are absent divided by the number of attendance codes a student would have. So in high school, the scenario I suggested earlier, where a student misses one of their 5 classes, their absent percent for the day would be 20%. Whereas in a K-8 scenario, because they only have 2 opportunities to get an attendance code, their absent rate would either be 0%, 50%, or 100%. So to kind of create an even keel between the grade levels in the public view, we've decided to go with this measure. And the other reason as well is, in general, this was originally used to look at students who are becoming, sick or are away for illness, related reasons. And so in our thinking, when we were choosing the measures to use, a student who is away sick for even one period was important to display to the public. So.
Oh, it's Ian, sorry.
Just
Mr.
wanted
Walker.
I just wanted to make an observation that the date showing that we're looking at here on the attendance tracker was yesterday.
Yes.
And the weather was quite cold yesterday, so I imagine there's probably some weather related absences, so it might not be, indicative of what an average day looked like. And also when I looked in the student absence dashboard, Friday and Monday both had much higher number of kids that were away, so food for thought.
Follow up, trustee Seminole?
Yeah, no, overall, I think this is good for the public to have a general idea. I think it's lots of really good work. On it, if I'll make a suggestion, at the top there, we talked about the portion of the day and the daily summary. I would just maybe add a line that explains exactly what was explained, the distinction between the two, just so that it's easy to consume anything. But I think it's great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, we will thank you. We'll take that feedback back for.
Yes, trustee Nordheim?
So what are administrators doing with this data?
Well, maybe let either Marnie or can answer that question.
Yeah, so, and we've touched on it in a couple of annual reports over the last bit. We've had a task force meeting monthly for the better part of 2 years. Marnie and Amber Zederick, our supervisor of social work, have led that task force and bringing principals and vice principals together. And so just digging deep into all of the data we track just relative to attendance, and then seeing the relationship between that attendance data and other data we track, and that we, like Clark has observed, that what we look at internally is just that much richer in terms of information. We have to be mindful in these public dashboards, very mindful of privacy legislation. But essentially, what we're trying to do is see attendance. What's motivating us is to understand what is keeping a young person from not attending school, and what can we do as a school system, as individuals in our practice, to support a return to school, staying in school, rather than not attending.
Yeah, one of the reports that we have that's obviously we can't show the public is it really allows us, alerts us to the chronic absenteeism that we have in specific schools. drills down to the actual student and academics and really helps, we hope, helps our administration to act when they see those types of stuff happening with students.
So it just reminded me that we've brought reports back to you as a board over the years that actually touches on the changes we're seeing. And so it might be time to bring a report in the near future about how we're doing, how we're improving attendance.
Semeniole and Trustee Walker.
So the overall absentee rates, they're the historical for the daily one. So tomorrow we'll be seeing today's daily data, but if you want to look at yesterday, tomorrow, you go to the overall and just change the dates. Is that giving you the same rates? So are those two different?
So, I don't know, Marty, did you catch that one? It's like, so when this data is fully behaving the way we want it to, like today's absenteeism should be showing up right around this time. We're just right at the cusp, so that's why you're seeing a little bit behind. But yeah, like because attendance is taken, it has to be refreshed at very specific times to make sure that we're capturing all the data properly. We do have this bit of a gap. I'm not sure if did I answer your question?
Yeah, because I realized a little bit of a discrepancy, and I was just wondering what the daily historical is. If somebody just want to look at, hey, what did this graph with all the colors look like last week Thursday?
Yeah, so oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Marty. Go ahead.
Sorry, there's a delay. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. If you're talking about what we affectionately call the traffic light report, that is really only showing the most recent day of data. So you cannot in that report go back in time. You would go to this report that Clark is showing right now to see that.
Okay, yeah, perfect. Yeah, and I think he has answered the question when I looked at the day to see if there's any kind of discrepancy there was, but because things haven't updated yet. Thank you.
Trustee Walker.
I was just wondering when a report comes forward, if there could be some examples of, I have no doubt there's good work being done in our schools to entice families to send their kids. I'd just be curious if there could be some examples, you can exclude what school's doing what, but just to kind of give us an idea as a community of what good work is being done.
Yes, absolutely.
We can do that.
A future report. Right?
Report, okay.
Yeah, future report. I can't do that right now.
Trustee Palmquist.
When the report comes, it's so big.
Included in the information. Trustee Palmquist.
Quick question, just the data is very interesting. The little spike of absences the day after Halloween is very funny. I wanted to see, it was very interesting fragment there in the grade 9 report. There was a day where there was the absences went almost to 0. It's the only grade that happened. I was just curious what that might have been related to.
It's November, it might have been take your kid to work.
Which day?
It is.
Yeah, that's
November,
exactly it.
Yeah, November 6th.
So take your.
Yeah, grade 9
Yeah.
are
Oh, cool.
everywhere except the classroom.
It's interesting the way that these events and activities emerge in the numbers. It's very cool.
Good, thank you. So now we move to 6.3. We're very interested in strengthening and maintaining our career in technical education in LRSD. We're very fortunate to have our own Louisville Arts and Technology Center. There's a proposed consultation that's coming up. I'll let our superintendent and Assistant Superintendent Cormac explain this to us, please.
Well, the board and the senior leadership team have been reviewing a comprehensive consultant proposal to review our industrial arts, human ecology, and the Louisville Arts and Technology Center programming. And I'll have our assistant superintendent share some of the details.
To advance strategic action 3.6, the project scope and approach involves a review of industrial arts, human ecology, and programming at the Louisville Arts Center. The consulting firm will also conduct a labor market analysis, feasibility and cost analyses, and collaborative stakeholder engagement. The project will be completed within 6 months and will involve collaboration between various departments.
Else to add?
No, that's it.
Excellent. Questions or comments, Mr. Seminola?
If the information is available and you are able, is there a way to provide a range of what something like this would cost?
Well, we could bring that information back to the board at the phase. I don't have a range right now of consulting estimates. I mean, we have discussed as a senior leadership team and a board the costs involved with engaging a consultant to do this work. But I can certainly provide a range, an estimate, some cost analysis related to this this specific consulting project. And as we've discussed, the Secretary Treasurer will be bringing forward later in the year an annual report on any consulting fees that we've incurred.
I think this is just a demonstration of how much we as a board and a division value a career and technical education in LRSD. So thank you very much for that. Next is the accessibility plan updates at 6.4. Superintendent Cormack will provide an update regarding our division's accessibility.
As previously shared, we were required to update our accessibility plan prior to the new year, and that occurred in December. And so on our divisional website in the About Us section, you will see an update that includes accessibility plan 2024. And within that, we were mandated to provide feedback from employees. And so we engaged in a comprehensive consultation process. And so some of those reflections of employees are embedded in that document. The next work for the working committee will be to update policy ACE, our commitment to accessibility policy. And so that will begin the first week of February with those changes coming forward prior to the end of the year.
Thank you very much. Questions or comments on the accessibility report? Walker?
Oh, sorry.
Oh, very good. So thank you very much, Assistant Superintendent Cormack, for that. We'll move on then to 6.5. This is the monthly communications update regarding our social media. It's very exciting that we have transitioned to Blue Sky. Anecdotally, we've received a number of compliments and people seem to be appreciative of that move. So I'll pass it over to our superintendent for an update.
And so the update is that it's early days and we've got lots of work to do. If we look at the analytics report that I'm seeing here on the screen, we have our data for X, formerly known as Twitter. So we joined Twitter in January of 2013 and built up a following on Twitter and X. When we left X in December, we had 6,361 followers. We were following 1,705 accounts. We had 8.7 thousand posts. And now when we look to Blue Sky, it's early days. We joined Blue Sky in December of 24, late in December. We have, when this report was compiled on January 14th, 568 followers. We were following 63 accounts. We had 20 posts, 125 likes, and 48 retweets. So we're starting our journey afresh. And we'll have to work hard to build up that network.
Thank you very much. Any questions or comments on this? I'd just like to comment that Blue Sky has a different algorithm than the X algorithm, and it's we're again early days. We're just starting to move, but I'm quite confident that that's going to snowball and it's going to build up. And once people are aware that we're there and There is what's called the exodus going on right now, where a lot of accounts are moving over. So I think in the future, we're gonna have very healthy numbers over there. Great. So thank you, everyone. Moving along then to our correspondence. We have correspondence that we've received, correspondence that we've sent, and correspondence from and received from the Manitoba School Boards Association. They're all listed here. I haven't had any request for anyone to pull anything out for discussion, so they can be regarded as accepted. Moving on then to action items. We have our upcoming Manitoba School Boards Association general meeting. And we have, as a school division, we have a number of ballots that we are entitled to cast. Those ballots are distributed to the folks from our division who will attend the meeting. This is simply a mechanism that we have, or that the MSBA has, to have those ballots collected. It's not one person, one vote at the meeting for certain items. We have our book of ballots. So we are going to be suggesting and responding that myself as chair and trustee Sandy Nemeth be nominated as the individuals who will can or will pick up those ballots. It's on here as a vote. I don't think we actually need to vote on this. I think we just need to respond. I don't think we need a motion for this. So there's a strong opinion on it.
Have in the past. I believe we have in the past.
We have to pass it?
We have brought this motion before in the past.
We have in the past. Okay, well, there we go. So we make a motion that the Manitoba School Boards Association distribution of board ballots, the MSBA memorandum dated January 14th, 2025 regarding the distribution and casting of board ballots at the 2025 MSBA annual convention be received as information, and that trustee Sigurdsson and trustee Nemeth, how do you word that? Just let me check the memorandum. Be nominated to accept the ballots.
Keeper of the ballots.
Keeper of the ballots. Nominated to accept the ballots. We have a mover and a seconder for that. Trustee Semenyola, trustee Walker. All those in favor? That's been passed. It's voted.
Didn't come up, sorry.
Yes,
Yes, I did.
thank you.
Vote is closed. Thank you very much. Look forward to that meeting. We now have the public question period. We have some members here and some members online. May have questions. Yes, ma'am?
Sorry, trustee Garrier mentioned the DEI library collection. I was just wondering, is that available and where would I be able to find?
It's Minnetonka School. And
So it's just Minnetonka School?
that's the only one that I went to, spoke with the principal at Minnetonka. So this is an initiative she's doing at her school. But if you would like, I can get you some more information.
That'd be great, thank
Okay.
you.
I will talk to her and
Yeah. Yeah, most all libraries have a variety of collections, including collections that focus on diversity, focus on equity, inclusion.
I can speak further to
Yes,
Minnetonka
please.
if you like. They received a grant from the province of Manitoba, specifically to do a review of their library and classroom collections through a lens of diversity, equity, and inclusion. And as part of that grant, they were also provided with release time to engage in this work, time to work with various individuals to consult on it, and funds towards the purchase of these books. So there's classroom libraries in addition to additions to the school library that were made as a result of that provincial grant for that purpose.
Excellent.
thank you.
Yes, I believe they came and spoke to us, did they not? You have a presentation from them last year?
Possibly. And of course, many of our libraries, a variety of grants from different organizations.
Does that answer your
Yeah,
question?
that's great, thank you.
Very good, thank you.
It's really,
Garen, sorry, cut you off.
okay, it's really popular and it's fantastic. Sorry.
Questions for us? Anyone online?
No hands up on.
No hands up online? Okay, thank you very much. Meeting is adjourned, fairly quick one. Must be the cold weather. Thank you very much, and all of us will take a break and we'll have to reconvene to finish our other meeting. Thank you, everyone.
When do you want to start? 10 minutes or?